So tragedy on Friday as police were called to a house in Katikati, Western Bay of Plenty, and what transpired was a 4-year-old boy was attacked by a dog or dogs, and it was a fatal dog attack. Police are still investigating. The boy has been named as Timothy Tuuake Rolliston Bryan, was attacked, as I said, near Katikati. 2 people also suffered injuries in the attack. Police say the young boy was taken to Katikati Medical Centre in a critical condition. He died a short time later. A spokesperson for the Western BOP District Council says animal services team were called and they removed 3 dogs from the property following the attack, and they are now at the Te Puke Animal Shelter. The owner has signed the dogs over to council custody. Dog Safe Workplace said it is seeing reported dog incidents escalating, with 29,233 dog incidents reported to ACC last year, a 46% increase since 2015. And ACC has recorded over 108,000 claims of dog-related injuries, more than half of those being dog bites. Hospitalisations due to dog attacks have also shown a steady increase. The Far North District actually has the highest rate of incidents, with nearly 6 claims per 1,000 people, more than double the national average. Auckland also has seen a large number of cases, showing that urban and rural areas alike are grappling with this issue. Dog Safe Workplace founder and director Jo Clough believes the real number, though, is much higher. And she joins me now. Jo, a very good afternoon to you.
Hi, Leah. Thanks for having me.
Really, really great to talk to you about this, especially the fact that we've got a special week coming up, which we will talk about. But an absolute tragedy on Friday with this little boy. We don't know the full story of what happened, but there are 3 dogs on the property, and I'm sure in time more will come out. But you believe, Jo, that less than 20% of dog bites are actually reported. That leaves a lot that are not.
I know. And if you think about it, though, sometimes when a dog does bite, it's an excitement. They're playing with the child or whatever, and they grab it with their mouth, and they don't mean to bite it. It's a family pet. It's a friend's dog. It doesn't necessarily go reported. But I work with a lot of organisations, and one of my clients, just to give you an example of underreported figures, they're a utility company, and before they came to us, they had 105 dog incidents in that year.
Ooh.
When I look at the ACC statistics for that industry, they only reported 20. So there is a dramatic difference in the numbers, and there are lots of reasons for it. A lot of companies have their own private insurance, so it doesn't go through ACC. I can fortunately tell you, though, that that client is now down to about 6 incidents a year and has been consecutively. So, they're not still having those issues. But
so
it does show that education is important.
Yeah, you said you'd like to see a mandatory dog bite reporting system introduced, correct?
Yes, I would. I think because the numbers are going to go up, we just don't have any way of actually knowing what the true figure is. And if ACC are currently spending almost $34 million on dog incidents, how much more is being spent that could be put to education to help not just people in the community, but dog owners recognising when their dogs are uncomfortable, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dog Bite Prevention Week, it's coming up, and I just wanted to get a little bit of a background on what Dog Safe Workplace does and what your message is. Like, what, as the director, you've talked about a bit of a client. So what do you do, Jo?
We actually work with any organisation whose staff enter properties where dogs may be present. So we work with government departments like Department of Corrections, Statistics New Zealand, Bureau of Statistics Australia, courier companies, utility companies, real estate agents, literally anybody who is going onto a property where they may encounter a dog.
Ah, okay. Right, I know it. I get it now. Yeah, so I was thinking, dog bite prevention. I get that. Dog Safe Workplace. All right. I saw in some of the stats, Joe, that women were affected more in dog bites than men. Why would that be?
The only reason I can think of is potentially the mother is at home with the children,
Ah,
and the children may be teasing the dog or whatever, and the mother steps in and she might get nipped.
yeah.
It is
Okay.
quite an interesting statistic when you look at it, though. I was quite surprised.
Yeah.
I've been commissioning reports from ACC for years, and I've got 19 years worth of statistics. So watching the increase has been quite horrific. But every now and then this figure will turn up, and you go, "Wow, I had no idea that was even
Yeah.
an issue." Yeah.
And you did say, and I want to talk a bit about education because I mean, we've had dogs for years. We've got one dog now. We had a couple. They are, we made sure as puppies they were socialized, they were trained. I can successfully walk my dog on off a lead. He's a big dog, but I don't know, to me, he's got teeth. Well, he has got teeth. So you never 100% trust a dog, even my dog. And I know if he was cornered, he would, he'd protect himself. So I struggle with sometimes at the park, and it can happen on a daily basis and it's, again, this is where education, Joe, and this is where your field, where kids have run at my dog screaming, because they want to touch the dog. And and parents have just turned a blind eye. Now, I'm not blaming and I'm not saying bad parents, but this is where I know they're not educated around dogs because they don't say anything, and I have to stop the child. And then I think they're going to growl me for like putting an arm out. And I'm like, "Oh, darling, please, no, sorry, don't run at my dog. Please don't scream." And then the parent goes, "Oh, get over here." And I just go, if I wasn't an owner that really watches what goes on, something could happen and it could be tragic, and my dog could get put down in the process. And this is where we're really failing. I see that we are failing society. We all share the space, and there's no the education of the parents, of the children as a whole, and dog owners. There's some really bloody bad dog owners out there. But how do you get through to that, Joe? Is that obviously part of what you do?
Yes, we've got a division called Dog Safe for Kids. So we created 3 programs that basically teach children empathy. So you put a child in a situation and say, well, how would you feel if I was pulling your hair or if I was poking you? What would you feel? What would you do? So how do you think a dog feels if you do that to the dog? And how is the dog going to tell you that he doesn't like it? And you get the kids to start thinking in that way. And I've had parents come up to me saying, "Oh, my child just constantly annoys our dog." And it's quite easy for me. I just say, well, sit next to your child when they're watching TV and then poke it.
Yeah.
Just in the arm, don't hurt it. Poke them. And they'll go, "What are you doing?" You'll go, "Nothing." And they go, "Stop it." And you go, "But this is what you do to the dog." It's getting kids to understand. But every level of education needs to be slightly different. So when we're teaching the preschool kids, there's 3 golden rules we teach them. And we give them scenarios. When we're teaching primary school children, it steps up a bit. When we're looking at intermediate and college, we start talking about responsible pet ownership and your requirements under the laws of what you need to do. And then we also have a program that we run for parents and teachers and caregivers. So there is education out there, but if I'm completely honest with you, Leah, I've been trying to get this in front of government for years.
Oh. Yeah. No,
and
it's frustrating, isn't it? Because what you're covering, you're trying to cover the gamut of it, which is sensible, and different ages. But if you don't get the backing or funding or whatever, I've always thought we needed to. I mean, this is my idea, which has been called a bit radical, because I still believe it's too easy to get a dog, and there are people that have no idea what they're getting into, no idea how to train them or care for it, or are interested in training it or socializing it. And I think we actually need legislation around dog ownership, not just a registration, because that money just goes off into the ether. But, you have to prove that you can look after it, train it, house it properly. some people just think, oh, Leah, legislation, that's too radical. It's a dog.
I completely agree with you. I think we do need to have much stronger laws in regards to people who own dogs, and I think the consequences need to be higher for them. I mean, for an owner who's got their dog off lead, you need to have full recall. You need to call your dog and it needs to come back to you immediately. That is a legal requirement. But so many people don't. And we also forget, I mean, obviously I'm a dog owner, and we forget sometimes that just because we love dogs doesn't mean everybody does.
Yes.
So, there has to be that kind of, hold on a second, just because I love my dog, and I've got a big dog, he's 57 kilos.
Oh, hello. Jeez.
And he's a bully breed. So a lot of people would look at him and think, oh, that's scary, but he's actually a big poofter. He's so sweet and so gentle. But if you came onto my property in the middle of the night, I'm not guaranteeing you're going to be safe because he's a dog. Yep. And if you frighten him or you step into his boundary and territories and he's protective, you potentially are putting yourself at risk.
Yeah.
But there are opportunities to educate people. They've got to want to be educated.